I took a 2-week trip to Europe. Why? Well, there's a long list of reasons why. Competing in sport, participating in a cubing competition, and meeting friends. But I also decided to take this little cube on a tour around the world, including 6 countries. I solved this cube in every major place I could, 14 solves in total. So, without further ado, let me recount this trip as you see this cube fly across the globe. This is my German trip vlog, part 1. Alright, day 1. At a bright and early, or more dark, 2:30 AM, we had a taxi waiting to the airport. Of course, before I left, I had to do one solve at home in Melbourne, Australia. Throughout this trip, I was tired, jet-lagged, and barely awake for half these solves, so don't expect them to be good. It was a pretty bad solve with a 27.42, literally a few minutes after I woke up. Besides that, we got into the taxi and headed to Melbourne Airport. For any aeroplane enthusiasts out there, Melbourne has 2 major airports. We were going to Tullamarine Airport, where most international flights occur. We arrived at the airport at 3:50 AM, which is not even 1.5 hours after I woke up, and oh boy, was this place completely deserted. As you can see in the footage on screen, there was literally no one there. We were actually really early even for our flight, and we got in right before the big queue of people checking in. After going through security, doing border control, and submitting our bags, we headed to the airplane lounge to relax for around an hour. At the gate, right before boarding the plane, I did another 3x3 solve. I finished with a 23.08, which is about what I averaged, so I was happy to get that solve, and so early in the morning. After this, we boarded the plane and set off on a long flight. And when I say long flight, I mean really long. We had a layover in Dubai and the flight there was over 14 hours long. I don't really mind long flights though, and with a bunch of different puzzles to practice, it wasn't that bad. I began the flight by practicing some clock. Okay, yes, I do suck at clock, but at least it was entertaining. I also did some 4x4 and 3x3 practice, but forgot to get footage, so oh well. And then it was time for another 3x3 solve, the third one on the trip. The lighting is pretty bad on these planes, and it was slightly challenging to see the colours, especially differentiating white and yellow. And this was really evident as I got a 26-second solve. As I show you some random other pieces of footage on this flight, I wanted to explain a bit more about the purpose of this trip. Now the main reason was sport, as I had some international competitions over in Europe, specifically Germany. But I also wanted to see some friends and of course attend a cubing competition. This is why I was so focused on cubing throughout the trip and why I wanted to create this vlog in the first place. After landing in Dubai, we got lost in the terminal. And then got lost again trying to find the airport lounge. Totally not foreshadowing, but we'll get to see much more of this airport later in this vlog. Anyway, again, right before boarding, I did the 4th 3x3 solve, in which I finished with a 19.12, the first sub 20 solve of this trip. Compared to the first flight, this one was much shorter, however, it felt much more tedious. It was only 7 hours compared to the 14, and I ended up sleeping for a lot of it, or at least trying to sleep. At this point, I had only slept less than 4 hours over the past 48, and I was dying inside. Another solve time, and of course, I got a 29.23. Well, this sucked. We arrived at Frankfurt Airport quite late at night, so after picking up our bags and stuff, we headed to a hotel. The airport was actually quite nice and certainly much bigger than Melbourne Airport. This is some footage before customs, and this is some footage after. After nearly getting lost, I know I suck at directions. On the way to the hotel, we finally made it and had a night's rest. It was a big struggle to sleep on planes, so at this point I was practically dead. It's the morning, and Frankfurt looked really cold. This is the first time we could see anything in Germany, as it was already dark the night before, and oh boy, there was fog everywhere. Now I was so tired the night before, so I forgot to do a 3x3 solve, so here it is now. I finished with a 29.16, which again is pretty terrible. After picking up the car, we began the long trip from Frankfurt Airport to the location of the first competition. Now this competition had literally nothing to do with cubing, but I'll still show you around the village. One of the weirdest parts about driving in Germany is the fact that Australia drives on the opposite side as most of the world. Practically all of Europe, except the United Kingdom, drives on the right side of the road, and it was really weird. The other thing was that it was really cold. Some of the days when I was in Germany, it got to only 2 degrees Celsius. Since it was summer in Australia, the change in temperature was pretty big. Göppingen was the town I stayed at for this event, and it was literally the most calm and tranquil thing ever. It is situated practically in the middle of nowhere, but it is the classic, delightful, small European town which has everything compact in such a small, tiny area. Nevertheless, we entered our apartment in which we were staying for the next few nights, and then went on a bit of an exploration of the town. It was early December at the time, so enjoy some beautiful footage of the Christmas market, which was situated right next to my accommodation. Time to solve another 3x3 in Göppingen. I finished with a 28.93, and trust me, the solves get pretty good towards the end of this trip as I was practicing a bit more, so just wait a bit. Now since the trip was rather chaotic, I didn't get much chance to actually vlog, as in point cameras at things and speak into the microphone in real time, but there were some segments in which I did. We were visiting a classic German supermarket, coincidentally the same one that Mr. Beast partnered with, so enjoy some raw footage of this Edeka supermarket. Pokemon, oh my god, it's an Animal Crossing mug. Oh my god. I don't know, Minecraft stuff right there. This is just candy at this point. Alright, let's continue exploring this place. Is that food? Or is that... That's cooking stuff. These are toys. I don't see why. This is cookingware. These games are for kids, I think. Oh my god, actually, I've seen this in a video. It's cool to see this in person. Living in Australia, you get like none of these things that you see online, and all of a sudden you have them in your hands. In preparation for the competition, I visited the gym, which I totally didn't get lost again. No, but seriously, who decided it was a good idea to have such a hidden entrance and exit? The gym was actually situated in a beautiful shopping centre with the most beautiful Christmas decorations I've ever seen. And for some reason this Aldi had, I'll let the footage speak for itself. Why is there onions here? It's some sort of thing and there's just, no, it's garlic. Oh my god, that's so funny. Anyway, now for some cubing practice. I tried getting this shot, but it ended up turning out really bad, so I guess enjoy it. And then I did some practice solves. Now so far the trip had been pretty successful. There was something so special about being in a random small German town, which was really compact yet really pleasant. The food we ate was really good too, especially from the small independent bakeries. I'll put some foods up on the screen now, but some of the most memorable is this weird sandwich and this plate of meats. This sort of food is much rarer in Australia. The next thing we did was take a short evening trip to Stuttgart, which is a big city right next to Göppingen. We rode a local line which was encompassed in the Stuttgart section of rail. The trains were pretty clean and the stations were amazing. We even got to try the Stuttgart metro lines. On the way back we saw this scene. This carriage looked literally like a spaceship. I tried solving a 3x3 in this lighting as part of Stuttgart. The lighting made this cube look vibrant and stunning, with each of the colour being very defined. Like seriously, this yellow and green looks so cool. I finished with a 24.15 right before returning home on this pretty awesome train. The The next morning was a long drive after checking out of our accommodation. Where, you may ask? Well, we drove 6 hours into France. The drive was pretty standard with nothing much going on, and I spent most of the time just listening to random podcasts. I wanted to cube, but I get motion sick in cars, so that wasn't an option. Toward the end of the drive, we even got to see some snow as our destination was quite high in altitude. And then here we were in Oyonnax, France. The town was a bit more sparsely built than Göppingen in Germany. Still, it was very calm and the Christmas decorations were put up literally everywhere. We got some amazing shots of the town hall and the church, as well as some random streets. For the night, we checked into our hotel for some sleep. Exclusive room tour. This is one of the few vlog segments. I'm probably going to be doing a voiceover for the rest of this vlog, but yep, we're in France now. I'm just visiting some friends in a random small country town, and oh my god, finding a hotel was so difficult. We spent about 1.5 hours cycling this town. Very French. Bathroom, toilet, shower, sink. This is the living room. It's, you know, it's quite tall, like I can nearly touch it. I touched the roof. Bit of a section here. Can turn around. TV. More blinds. Menu. That's everything. That's the room tour. And time for the 9th 3x3 solve, this time in France. I did this solve on my bed, lying on my stomach with the camera in front of me, basically blocking the entire cube. I know this sounds like an excuse, but trust me, getting footage without a table or proper equipment is hard. I finished the solve with a 26.66. Now, there was still a lot more France in this trip, but unfortunately, that's the end of part 1 of this 2-part series on my German trip vlog. In the next part, I go to the next town, compete in the cubing comp, visit the Netherlands, and much more. Anyways, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, see ya, and stay tuned for episode 2.